Welcome to Hall Pass Sessions. This is your all-access Hall Pass to what the legends of the game are talking about. Legends from the Hall of Fame, the PBA, the PWBA, and the best that youth bowling has to offer. Hall Pass Sessions, complete with positive thoughts and a tip or two to help. And of course, legends to host. Now, here's Hall of Famers Carolyn Dorin-Ballard and Leanne Barrette Hulsenberg. This is Hall Pass Sessions.
Good day, everyone. It is Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, and thank you for joining us here at Storm Bowling. It is Hall Pass. What is Hall Pass? Well, it is all of bowling. We are going to discuss pro bowling, youth bowling, how you can support your community. How do you juggle life, bowling, tour, you name it? We are going to discuss it here. But the first thing I want to mention is Hall Pass. You do know the word Hall Pass, the two words together, mean two different things. We may all remember it as we get a hall pass to go to the bathroom when we raised our hand in school, right? Or it could be the other meaning that was brought to my attention, that if you are in a loving relationship, hall pass means something else. You can take it upon yourself to look that up because I'm not going to discuss it. So we want to move on, and I have one of the best partners for this podcast, Leanne Barrette Hulsenberg, who is a 27-time titleist. She has two major championships, U.S. Open 2011, which she won at Dallas Cowboy Stadium, 1999, USBC Queens champion. She has over 100 TV appearances, way more than that. This woman was the bowler that hooked the ball before anybody really knew what that was all about, and she did it naturally. But one of the greatest things about Leanne is not about what she did on the lanes. It's about what she did off the lanes. Oklahoma City bombing, she ran a charity event to raise money for her community. She started Boomer's Buddies way back when with her granddad to help youth bowling, started the youth tour out there in California, and you probably recognize her as the co-founder of the Storm Youth Championships, which allows all of our youth bowlers now to get recognized all around the country and have a lot of college opportunities. Please welcome my hashtag LFW partner, Leanne Barrette Hulsenberg. Good morning, friend.
Good morning. I'm going to have to pay you back next week. We'll flip-flop, and I'll be able to introduce you.
Okay, I love it. I can't wait to see what you have to say.
Thanks for the info.
You're welcome. How are things going there in Utah?
Doing great. Beautiful day here in Utah. I'm excited to do our little sessions with you, and I'm not going to give you a hall pass to get another partner for our podcast.
No way, but I was going to say, Leanne, tell everybody why we decided to do this.
I think they can Google the hall pass, but I think most of the podcasts are men or guys, right? I don't think there's a lot of women's bowling podcasts going on, and I think most of the podcasts talk about bowling.
Right.
And not all the extra things that go on in bowling. So I think we have our list. We've got different topics lined up for a couple months, and we'll talk about the hot topics, which something's always going on in bowling, and then we have our own topics to talk about. So I'm really looking forward to it, and we'll have some awesome guests too. So
I know, I'm looking forward to it. Well, PWBA starts this week.
Can't wait.
And we have a little research. I'll just start with a little tidbit that I had. I'm not sure that people realize that the PWBA Tour, or women's professional bowling, was started in 1960. So it's been around a long time. In 1982, it went through a little bit of a transition. You can look that up. It talks a little bit about how some of the players tried to split and do their own thing. Came back in 1982 for professional women's bowling. It was also LPBT, John Summer, obviously, our great owner. And then in 2015, there's this resurgence of a new PWBA tour that's a little bit different. And I think that's how we should start.
It is. It's pretty different altogether. I did an article a couple years ago, and someone asked me, "What's different between the tour you bowled on and the tour that's going on now?" And I said, "Pretty much everything, right, Carolyn?"
It is. One of the things I wanted to discuss was formats, right? When Leanne and I bowled, we bowled 48 game formats, 54 game formats. I mean, you name it. It was the never ending week, which usually started with Saturday. We had paid pro-ams. Sunday, we had practice session and pro-ams. Monday starts qualifying. Tuesday's qualifying. Match play is Tuesday, Wednesday, TV show Thursday. So there was a lot of extra bowling in there. And now, because just life is different, right? We have women that need to work. We have many women have families now. It's a shorter format. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and we're by no means criticizing the
No.
PWBA of today, because we are so happy that there is one for all the women bowlers out there. Part of us wishes maybe we were a little younger and could partake in that, but we support it 100%. We're so happy that the schedule for next year was already released, and the prize funds look awesome for this year, and I think 2025 will be a great 10-year anniversary for this tour. The thing we probably don't really like is that it's all they talk about, right? The 10 years of this tour. And I think maybe we feel a little bit forgotten in the many of the other women who dedicated their lives to women bowling. We don't really talk about them very much. So maybe on this show we can do that too and honor some of the greats of, all of women's bowling.
I see that a lot in our sport. Is that I think it kind of gets pushed aside. I think our history just comes up every now and then, instead of always making our history a part of what now is happening today. And talk about some of it's okay to talk about some of the negatives and then the positives, and hey, we don't want to do this again because it really didn't work, but hey, this was really great, and maybe we can incorporate it into where we are today. And I agree with that. This definitely will be a place and a community where we can address some of those questions as to why we feel the way we do, or maybe what we'd like to see happen as we go on. What's something that you wish for the new tour, Leanne?
I think the new tour is, I actually think it's more diverse than what we had, because there are so many good things about the new tour. And, I'm just a very traditional bowler, so I like, how it used to be in the long formats and all that, like awarding a title for half the games format versus what we had, that's different. But I think there's so many good things about women's bowling right now with the international players, the college. There's no gap from college to professional bowling like there was when there wasn't really a tour, because there's still, when there wasn't a tour, we still had the Queens, we still had the US Open. And so, but there was like a gap. So these girls nowadays can go, if they want to, straight from college to going on tour. And that's, I think a really great thing, along with the international competition.
I agree with that 100%. We also, for a while there, had the PBA and USBC Women's Series, where the PBA stepped up and partnered with the USBC to host some events alongside the men. We competed separately to qualify, obviously, and then had our TV show. So that was nice that the PBA did partner up with USBC to give the ladies something else to bowl besides our few major events. But bringing up the collegiate and the international part of women's bowling, let's start with the international. Okay. unbelievable how many international players have started to come over to the United States to compete in the PWBA Tour. And I'm definitely going to reference my notes on this because I'm going to try not to leave anybody out. But uh, I mean, there's Team Singapore. We have Diana, Daria, Birgit, Maria, all of these, Germany, Sweden, Finland, Latvia, Dasha Kovalova, she's from the Ukraine, Susanna Miyagi from Japan. I mean, there is such an array of international contingency. And then on top of that, we have two spectacular things. One, we have Lee Jane Sin, who is player of the year, reigning player of the year, unbelievable year last year, winning two major championships. And we have one of the best two-handers in Nora Johansson from Sweden coming over to compete, which we will now see the influx of two-handed bowling. Talk a little bit about both those ladies, Leanne.
Well, I think when you hit on it, two-handed, I think you're going to see more two-handers come out on tour in the next couple of years. And that's something we haven't had before. I mean, there's an occasional two-hander, but I don't think there's been a full-time two-hander on tour, and I could be wrong.
No.
But, like you said, Nora, I mean, like, it looks like there's 11 international players entered in the first week, not counting the ones who live in the U.S., like Daria and Diana and Barrette. So 11 international players is amazing.
I think it's unbelievable, and it has definitely given us the avenue to showcase all of these women from all around the world and show you that in so many of these other countries, bowling is a big deal. Sweden and Finland, they all have that big bowling league that they all participate in. So they bowl year round against each other. So it's not as if they come into this tour season cold. And I do agree with you. You are definitely going to see an influx of more two-handed bowling coming through, especially out of the collegiate ranks as they tend to graduate. I know there's a few in there that still have another year or two of bowling at the collegiate level. And then I'm sure they will try their hat at the tour, if not at least the regional. But it's just unbelievable how it's grown internationally. And it's also wonderful to see. And I know Storm does a lot of work with Robert Dong over in Asia. They start some of these bowlers way young with two-handed style.
Yeah, and we had a guest here last week with Daria. I think the young man was from Japan, and he was two-handed. We did a little video with him throwing the new Rotagrip Ultimate Record. So, and I don't think he was 10 years old yet, maybe 10. So, but we're going to save two-handed bowling for another topic in a couple weeks.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
So we'll wait on that. We've got a great chat going on over here, and our Hall of Fame friend Linda Nori Barnes wants to know, why do you think the internationals are dominating? So I have my opinion. I don't know your opinion, Carolyn, but my opinion is that many of these professionals are paid by their country, right? They are like Team Singapore. That is their job. I mean, that is their full-time job. And back in the old days when I bowled a couple international tournaments in Japan, they were paid athletes. Like that was they were house pros, and they were paid to be the house pro. And so it's just a little different than we do it over here. So their training might be different. Their dedication might be different as far as time and everything. Like many of our girls are multi-talented and have jobs, and they don't have 100% of their time to dedicate to bowling. And I think the internationals are a little bit different.
Oh, I can agree with you 1,000% on that. Just using ourselves as an example. I mean, when I didn't have a family and it was just me and I bowled full time, there was a regimen, right? I was paid to bowl. I got up, I went to the gym, I went and practiced, I bowled league or I bowled tournaments. That's all I did. I didn't have to worry about reporting to many other people, right? Or making sure that I was answering to a boss or getting some work in. I mean, we worked on the off season, but we worked for the companies that we represented.
Right.
And it was nice that they allowed us to work in avenues that we were passionate about, community service, working with the youth, whatever it be, speaking engagements. Um, I think when you're paid, like you said, by the country and this is your job, it takes a load off of you to be able to concentrate on just that one entity of your life. And I think that's what makes you so dominant. The other part of that is they truly, because of their training and from when they were even younger. I mean, some of these ladies have bowled together since they were like 12. I mean, they didn't just start bowling together when they were 28. They started bowling together when they were 12.
Yep.
So not only have they built up a friendship and their kind of family, right? But they've been able to train together, and it's just become repetition. Some of the international players are some of the best players I've ever seen. Just repeat, repeat, repeat. And they don't get clouded by any outside influence. And I think that's very important, especially for the mental game. But it's amazing to watch. And Lee Jane is one of them that just, she never looks any different to me, ever. Whether she's bowling good or bad, or whether she has a look or she doesn't. It's the same thing over and over again. And I think that's just so important, especially in today's game, because the talent level has gotten so much better. And I think the learning curve has become slightly shorter because of all the previous experience until they get out on tour. So I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, and I think your point of they've known each other for a long time kind of points out how Team Singapore does so well over here, because it really is hard to go to another country and be acclimated to the environment and everything. And Team Singapore has good, they are like a family, I mean,
Yes.
two of them are family members, but they travel together, they are on each other, they're a team. And so it's not so difficult for them to be in a foreign country because they are a group and their coach and their trainer and stuff like that. So I think that makes it a lot easier for them to come over here, as hard as it is to travel.
Correct. And then as we talk about that, it leads us into our other rank of many talented bowlers, our collegiate ranks. I mean, oh my gosh, we have people competing from, and I want to make sure I get this right, Wichita State, Stephen F. Austin, which is SFA, Nebraska, Wisconsin Whitewater, Newman, Youngstown. I mean, unbelievable the talent pool that will be joining the ranks of the PWBA. It's absolutely amazing to see some of these ladies where they started and where they are now, because I know they may have some opening jitters or whatever it be, but they are so ahead of the game as to where I was when I left college. I mean, they're at least 4 years ahead of where I was in the learning pool.